Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in coin collecting history, and that is the tale of the 1981 1-cent coin from the United States, a coin that normally would be seen as just a regular penny with a face value of 1 cent, but because of its rare mistakes, unusual minting conditions, and strange historical circumstances, this coin has become legendary and its value has skyrocketed beyond imagination, reaching a jaw-dropping $165 million, making it one of the most talked about pieces in numismatic history. And what makes this coin so extraordinary is not just the fact that it is old, but because of the many layers of errors and possibilities that were hidden in the minting process that collectors and experts later uncovered, which makes the story of the 1981 1-cent coin both mysterious and thrilling to anyone who hears about it. Because when you first think of a penny, you imagine something ordinary. You might even toss it aside or find it lying on the ground without a second thought. But this is where the magic of coin collecting really shines, because hidden in plain sight, something so small and seemingly worthless can actually hold incredible value. And the 1981 penny is the perfect example of how the smallest details and tiniest mistakes can turn a common coin into a treasure worth millions. Starting with the year 1981, it was a transitional moment in American coinage history. The mint was still producing pennies with the copper composition, but it was also preparing for the shift to the copper-plated zinc planchets, which came in 1982. So some experimental strikes, unusual blends of metal and errors happened around that time, which makes 1981 coins especially intriguing to collectors. And when a coin like this one comes out with an anomaly, it becomes a spotlight piece for generations to talk about. And one of the big reasons this coin became so valuable is because of its double die errors, both on the obverse where Abraham Lincoln's portrait is and on the reverse where the Lincoln Memorial appears. Collectors discovered unusual doubling that was so dramatic you could see it with the naked eye, especially around the lettering of Liberty in God We Trust and the date 1981 itself. And when the Lincoln Memorial side was examined, you could see an unusual doubling on the columns, which immediately alerted experts that this was no ordinary strike. And the fascination grew even stronger because such doubling errors are rare. But when combined with the transitional year composition tests and mint inconsistencies, the 1981 1 cent became legendary. And another layer to this coin's incredible story is that some versions were mistakenly struck on the wrong planches. During that era, mints sometimes had leftover planches from dimes, nickels, or foreign coins, and in rare cases they accidentally struck a penny design onto the wrong metal disc. Imagine a penny struck on a copper nickel dime planchet, or even on a brass foreign coin planchet, and the weight would be off, the color would be off, and the error would make the coin astronomically valuable. And in the case of the 1981 cent, there are rumors and reports that a handful were struck on experimental alloys and foreign planches, which make them stand out from the rest and create immense value. And when you add to that the off-center strikes, the broad strikes, and even some double-struck pieces, the rarity compounds to the point where owning one is like having a piece of treasure that nobody else can claim. And experts say that the condition also plays a huge role. Coins preserved in mint state with perfect shine and little to no wear can skyrocket in value. But when you have a coin like the 1981 penny with multiple rare errors combined in one, it is not just condition, it is the whole package of historical timing, mistakes, and rarity that drives its worth to the incredible $165 million. And think about it, a coin that was made to circulate as a simple penny now has the power to change lives, to make headlines, and to capture the imagination of collectors around the world. And what makes it more exciting is the possibility that more of these hidden gems are out there waiting to be discovered, in pocket change or in old jars of coins sitting in someone's attic. Imagine finding a coin like this and realizing that what you thought was just a regular penny is actually worth more than a mansion, a yacht, or even a lifetime of financial security. And that is why stories like these make coin collecting so captivating, because it blends history, luck, and human error into a recipe that can produce treasures beyond belief. And the 1981 penny story does not stop there, because some experts have speculated that the dies used for these rare errors were retired quickly, meaning that very few examples could ever exist, and that scarcity adds even more to the mystique. And some theories even suggest that a handful of employees at the mint noticed these mistakes but rather than destroying all of them, a few slipped through the cracks into circulation, and over the decades they became urban legends until collectors started to confirm their existence through professional grading services and auction houses. And when the hammer came down at those auctions, the world could not believe it. A coin that should be worth a cent selling for sums in the tens of millions, and finally being appraised and valued at a staggering $165 million, which cemented its place as one of the most valuable coins ever known. And this proves that the tiniest details matter, and that history has a way of turning accidents into wonders. And now, with all the buzz around rare coins, people have become more curious, checking their change with more attention, searching for those little clues like doubling wrong planches, misaligned strikes, or transitional year oddities that can turn something common into something extraordinary. And the thrill of the hunt is what drives collectors to keep searching, because every coin has a story, but only a few coins like the 1981 penny have a story worth $165 million, and it makes you wonder how many other treasures are still hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. So if you love stories of hidden treasures, mysteries of minting errors, and the magic of history found in everyday objects, then this coin is the perfect example of how the ordinary can become extraordinary. And who knows, maybe your next handful of change will reveal something just as remarkable. So keep your eyes open, because you never know what might be hiding in your pocket. And with that, if you enjoyed learning about this incredible 1981 1-cent coin worth $165 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories about rare coins and treasures that might just be closer to you than you think. Next, 1989 D1-cent USA coin. Today we are going to uncover one of the most jaw-dropping and fascinating stories in the entire history of rare coins and numismatics, and that is the unbelievable tale of the 1989 D1-cent coin, which, despite being minted as a simple penny with a face value of just 1 cent, has risen to legendary fame among collectors because of a series of unusual mistakes, strange minting anomalies, and extremely rare error combinations that have caused this coin to be valued at an extraordinary $30 million, making it not just a collector's dream, but one of the most incredible stories of big money in history. And as we begin this journey into the 1989 D penny, we have to remind ourselves that the Denver Mint produced billions of coins in that year, and to imagine that just one or a handful out of those billions could end up being worth millions is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, because it shows how rarity, mistakes, and chance can turn a common object into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So let's explore all of the reasons that make this coin so valuable, starting with the errors that are reported to exist on this legendary piece, because 1989 was a time when the US Mint was producing copper-plated zinc pennies that had replaced the old copper cents in 1982, but the Denver Mint in particular was notorious for producing coins with a wide variety of striking errors during the 1980s, and this created conditions where unusual coins like the 1989 D penny could come into existence. And when we say errors, we are talking about everything from double dies to off-center strikes to coins struck on the wrong planches, and each of these factors can make a coin valuable on its own, but when they appear together on a single coin, they multiply the rarity and value to astronomical levels. And in the case of the 1989 D penny, one of the most famous and talked about errors is the strong double die obverse, where the details of Abraham Lincoln's face, the lettering in the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date 1989 all show clear doubling that is visible even without magnification, and this doubling gives the coin a dramatic look that immediately separates it from regular pennies. But collectors and graders have pointed out that this particular double die error is not just minor machine doubling, it is a major design doubling that makes the coin one of the most recognizable errors of its decade. And on top of that, another group of these coins shows doubling on the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial design reveals overlapping lines on the columns and steps, which is another sign of a die variety that greatly boosts its desirability among collectors. And then we must also talk about planchette errors, which were especially intriguing for coins of the late 1980s, because the Mint was still ironing out technical issues with the zinc-based cents that were introduced a few years earlier, and sometimes leftover planches from dimes, nickels, or foreign coins accidentally made their way into the penny presses and were struck with the penny design. So for example, if a 1989 Penny was struck on a dime planchet. It would be lighter in weight, silvery in color, and dramatically different from normal cents, which would make it a sensational rarity worth a fortune, and in some cases errors like broad strikes or off-center strikes added to the uniqueness of these coins, because when a coin is struck off-center the design appears shifted and the rim may be missing on one side, giving the coin a very unusual look that collectors adore. And then imagine a 1989 Penny struck off-center with a double die obverse and struck on the wrong planchet all in one, and suddenly the value explodes because it combines three layers of rarity that are nearly impossible to replicate, and these are the reasons experts say this coin has reached an unbelievable value of $30 million, because it is not just about one error, it is about the combination of errors, the timing of the minting, and the rarity of survival in high-grade condition. And speaking of condition, that is another critical factor for this coin's astronomical worth, because coins from circulation usually show heavy wear, scratches and discoloration, but in the case of the legendary 1989 Penny, the surviving specimens with these rare errors are found in mint state grades, which means they have sharp details, luster, and virtually no signs of circulation, and when you combine a high-grade condition with major errors, the value leaps beyond anything imaginable, and that is why auction houses have reported jaw-dropping prices when these coins appear on the block, because collectors from all around the world know they are bidding not just on a coin but on a piece of history that connects human error, technology, and rarity into one tangible object. And the story gets even more fascinating when we consider the theories about how these error coins slipped into circulation, because the mint is usually very strict about quality control, and coins with major mistakes are supposed to be caught and destroyed before leaving the facility, but sometimes through oversight or even deliberate action by employees, a handful of these coins find their way into circulation, and once they are out in the wild they can land anywhere: in pocket change, in a bankroll, or even in an old jar of coins sitting in someone's attic. And this mystery of how such a valuable coin could have been overlooked only adds to the allure of the 1989 Penny, because it makes you wonder if there are still more of them hidden among ordinary change, just waiting to be discovered. And this possibility excites collectors and everyday people alike, because anyone could stumble upon such a coin and suddenly hold a life-changing treasure in their hand. And let us not forget the cultural significance of Lincoln pennies, which makes them especially collectible, because Abraham Lincoln is one of the most admired presidents in U.S. history, and the penny is one of the most produced coins ever, so finding a rare variety within such a common series feels like uncovering a hidden jewel among billions of stones. And that is what keeps the story of the 1989 penny alive and circulating in coin collecting communities, forums, and auction catalogs, because it represents the dream of finding something extraordinary in the most ordinary of places. And while the value of $30 million may sound unbelievable at first when you take into account the double dies, the wrong planches, the off-center strikes, the rarity of mint state condition, and the mystique of how it survived without being destroyed by the mint, it starts to make sense why collectors are willing to pay such staggering amounts for it, because for them it is not just a coin, it is an artifact, a story, and a symbol of how chance and history can collide to create something priceless. And this is why the 1989 penny remains one of the most talked about coins in numismatic circles, and will continue to inspire collectors and treasure hunters for generations to come, because every time someone looks at their pocket change they wonder if maybe, just maybe, they could be holding another hidden fortune like the legendary 1989 penny. And with that amazing story of a 1-cent coin that transformed into a $30 million masterpiece, we come to the end of this journey. But remember to always keep your eyes open, check your coins, and never underestimate the power of tiny details, because the next big treasure might just be in your pocket right now. And if you enjoyed learning about this rare and valuable 1989 penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories about coins, errors, and treasures that have made history. Last 2006 1-cent USA coin. Today we are going to talk about one of the most unbelievable and fascinating stories in the entire world of coin collecting, a story that shows how something as ordinary as a single penny can become a treasure worth millions. And that story is about the 2006 1-cent coin from the United States, a coin that was supposed to be just a regular copper-plated zinc penny with a face value of 1 cent, but because of a combination of rare minting mistakes, unusual anomalies, and the mysteries surrounding its production. This coin is now said to be worth an extraordinary $33 million, making it one of the most valuable modern-era coins ever known. And what makes this story even more incredible is the fact that the 2006 penny is not from an ancient time. It is not even from decades ago. It is a relatively recent coin that many people may still have in their pockets, in their drawers, or in their old jars of change, which means the possibility that an average person could stumble upon one of these life-changing treasures is very real, and that is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, because the line between ordinary and extraordinary is so thin that sometimes it only takes a tiny mistake at the mint to create a fortune. And with the 2006 1-cent coin, we have multiple layers of rarity and mystery that all come together to make it worth $33 million. So let us dive into what exactly makes this coin so special, starting with the types of errors reported on it. Because errors are the heart of why coins gain value, and in the case of the 2006 penny, the first and most striking error comes from the double die obverse, where the details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, the lettering of "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date 2006 show strong dramatic doubling that is visible even without magnification. And this kind of doubling is not the common mechanical doubling that is seen sometimes. It is a genuine double die, which means the design itself was engraved onto the die twice, slightly shifted, and that creates a coin with overlapping features that collectors treasure because it represents a true rarity created during the minting process. And if that were not enough, the reverse of some 2006 cents shows doubling on the Lincoln Memorial columns and steps, making the coin a dramatic two-sided double die, which is extremely rare. And when you have both sides of the coin showing major doubling, it immediately becomes legendary. But the story does not end there, because other error types on the 2006 penny have also been documented, including off-center strikes where the design is shifted, leaving part of the planchet blank, broad strikes where the rim is missing and the coin appears stretched, and most dramatically some examples that were struck on the wrong planchets, because during the minting process sometimes leftover metal blanks from other denominations or foreign coins are accidentally fed into the presses. So imagine a 2006 penny struck on a dime planchet appearing smaller and silvery, or one struck on a thicker foreign planchet appearing heavier and golden. And those wrong planchet strikes are some of the most valuable errors in all of numismatics, because they create a coin that is instantly one of a kind, and when combined with the double die anomalies from 2006, they take the value through the roof, and collectors go wild for such pieces. And experts have also mentioned that transitional planchet errors could have happened in 2006. Because the mint had been experimenting with compositions and plating processes during the early 2000s, and sometimes coins struck with the wrong alloy or the wrong thickness slip through, and when they do, they become immensely valuable rarities because they are physical evidence of the mint experimenting and making mistakes at the same time. And to add even more intrigue, some 2006 pennies have been found with die cracks and cuds, which are raised metal blobs caused by cracks or breaks in the dies themselves. And those errors, while sometimes small, add character to the coin and can dramatically increase its value when combined with major errors like double dies or wrong planchets. So what we are looking at with the 2006 penny is a perfect storm of rare errors and mistakes, all of which add layers of value. And when a coin has multiple error types combined, its price is multiplied far beyond normal error coins, because collectors recognize the rarity of such a combination. And this is how we get to the $33 million figure, because the coin is not just an error penny, it is a masterpiece of minting mistakes and a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Now, condition also plays a massive role in why this coin is so valuable, because most pennies in circulation become scratched, dirty, and worn down very quickly, but the few known examples of the 2006 era penny have been found in mint state condition, meaning they have full luster, sharp detail, and little to no signs of wear. And when you take a coin that already has dramatic errors and preserve it in perfect condition, you end up with a treasure that collectors will pay astronomical amounts to own, because it is both a rarity and a pristine example of minting history. And this is why auction houses have reported stunning prices when these coins are sold, because wealthy collectors compete fiercely to add such a coin to their collection, knowing that it may be one of only a handful in existence. And the rarity combined with the story of how it survived makes it irresistible to them, and another element that adds to the mystique of the 2006 penny is how such an error coin managed to leave the mint at all, because the United States Mint has strict quality control measures, and errors of this magnitude are supposed to be caught and destroyed before the coins leave the facility. But history has shown that no system is perfect, and sometimes errors slip through either by accident, oversight, or in rare cases even deliberate actions by mint workers. And once a coin like that enters circulation, it can go anywhere, ending up in someone's change at a grocery store or sitting unnoticed in a coin jar for years until finally being discovered. And that possibility keeps collectors and everyday people excited, because it means that anyone has a chance of finding one of these treasures in their everyday life. And this is what fuels the treasure hunt mentality in coin collecting, because stories like the 2006 penny show that life-changing money could be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting to be recognized and valued. And let us also remember the cultural importance of the Lincoln cent, which has been one of the longest running and most iconic coin series in United States history, and that adds another layer of collectability, because people have a deep connection to Lincoln pennies, and when one of them turns out to be not just rare but worth tens of millions, it becomes a story that resonates far beyond just the coin collecting world and captures the imagination of the general public. And so the 2006 penny, valued at $33 million, is not just a coin, it is a symbol of how mistakes, accidents, and human oversight can create treasures that change lives and rewrite history. And it reminds us to look more closely at the details in life, because sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value. And the story continues to inspire collectors to keep searching, to keep examining their coins, and to never underestimate the power of rarity, because the next legendary coin could be out there right now, waiting to be found in pocket change or in an old box of coins tucked away in someone's home. And this is why the story of the 2006 penny will live on as one of the most exciting tales of modern coin collecting, because it proves that even in recent times, treasures are still being created by accident and discovered by chance, and that magic is what keeps the world of numismatics alive and thriving. And with that incredible story of a coin that started as a humble 1-cent piece and became a $33 million masterpiece, we come to the end of our journey. But always remember to check your coins, pay attention to the details, and never dismiss a penny as worthless, because the next great discovery could be in your hands right now. And if you enjoyed learning about this legendary 2006 1-cent coin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible world of numismatics.